propagation room. Here we are. I've got the fan over here. You see that thing on the ground over there? That is the heater. So I've been trying to keep this propagation room at about 75. It's been a little bit difficult. We do have a heater in here, but I really don't want to run that at 75. Bob also has to work in here, and he's like, "You're killing me." So I'm just trying to keep this corner at 75. So because I know snapdragons are hard for me, and apparently zinnias are hard for me. What the heck? Zinnias are easy for everybody, but not me. So if you have advice on zinnias, drop them in the comments, because I am having really spotty germination with my zinnias, and I'll show you. Okay, you see these trays? The first one here is Benary's Giant zinnias. Look at all that spotty germination. And the tall ones. Okay, then we move on to these creamy yellow zinnias. Look, that's terrible. Then we move on right here to several of, I was growing these actually for myself, but these are the floret, 3 different kinds. You see 3 different name tags on there of floret zinnias. And then this one is the Oklahoma zinnias. Okay, very terrible germination on all of them. And if you see how leggy they got, so especially over here, what happened was they were on a heat mat. And obviously a few came up first, and I was thinking I don't want to take them off the heat mat because I don't have any others that have germinated. So I don't want to take these off the heat mat because then these others are not going to germinate. So I left them on the heat mat, and obviously there are no lights on the heat mat, so then several of these got leggy. I had a few more pop up, and then finally I knew I had to take them off because they were getting way too leggy, so I put them down here. I've kept this heater on. Since I've taken them off the heat mat, no more germination, which I was really hoping I would get more germination, but none. Up here, all right, this is probably the best. This is Floret's Unicorn zinnias. Had the best germination there. Then, what are these? Oh, these are Baker Creek. These are cactus zinnias. Had pretty decent germination there, I guess, if you want to call that. Then I have some celosia. The celosia is much better germination. Not so much there. Okay, so what I've done here, if you can see here, I've decided to try my zinnias in plug trays. And here we go. We definitely have several that popped up. Same thing, I have several that popped up. So then what I decided is to keep them on a heat mat and then to put them under lights. Hopefully I won't toast them. But my lights have no heat. So I'm thinking I won't toast them. But this is my experiment because I'm having terrible germination with the soil blocks. Maybe I will have better germination with the plug trays, because here's a plug tray, and if you can see that right there, I have several coming up. That right there, that right there. Just started these like 2 days ago. Those are sunflowers. So I have great germination with my sunflowers doing it this way. So I thought, let's try the zinnias this way. Keep you updated on that. I at least know that I have this spotty germination with my soil blocks. We'll see about them on the heat mats. I was worried that I would toast them in the soil blocks, keeping them on the heat mat and putting them under the lights. But here they have more soil. I feel less likely that I'll toast them in the plug trays under the lights. I feel like they needed to be left on the heat mat longer to get more to germinate, but I also feel like that these needed to be under the lights, not to get so leggy. So I feel like they needed a heat mat and lights to get more to germinate. That's what I think. That's my hypothesis. So I'm trying my hypothesis in the plug tray because I feel like there's more soil and less likely that'll burn them. But I could be totally wrong. So I do not know. So these are my zinnias. I'm going to have to do another tray of celosia. The one tray is good, the other tray not so much, so I'm going to have to do another tray of that. And another reason I started the floret seeds in this long tray and just did like 20 of each. They're expensive seeds, and I had trouble with my zinnia germination last year in the soil blocks. So I thought, well, let me try them in the soil blocks, but if they don't work here, I'm going to try something else because the seeds are expensive. So I didn't want to do a whole tray of those, and I'm really glad that I didn't. So far, honestly, I have better germination in, I think it's the Alpenglow right there, that first row right there, than I did over here. Victorian Wedding, I had no germination, and at least here I think I have two. Precious Metals, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, Precious Metals, I have 1, 2, 3. So far, in comparison of those, I'm getting better germination over here. We'll see about the Benaries Giants. I did pink and salmon, so we'll see about those. Might have to do a tray of the Oklahomas as well. Okay, I have used these things for years because I've had horses for years, lots more horses than I have now, and these things really work. This is just an FYI. I'm not sponsored at all. Wish I was sponsored. I'm not sponsored by anything. Anything I show you, I'm not sponsored. But these things really work. They're basically a beneficial insect. They keep the flies to a minimum. You're still gonna have flies no matter what. But you know, we have chickens, we have a donkey, we have a horse, dogs, all the things. And you get these, you're supposed to get them once a month, but the more I've gotten them, the less I have to get them. So I do definitely get them at the beginning of the season, and then probably every other month or so I release them. They're just little teeny tiny flies. You never ever see them once you release them, and they bore into the larvae and eat them, and you definitely see much less flies. The fly population is definitely reduced when you have these bad boys. I just saw them here because you're supposed to keep them in a warm place until they hatch, and then you release them. Like, I haven't seen any hatch yet. You'll see them all kind of crawling around in there. Then you release them. Definitely, I would highly recommend. I've also heard lots of good things about mosquito bits. I can't really say good or bad yet. I've been using them once a week in my water to water my soil blocks to keep the fungus gnat population down. Now that does seem to have worked in just standing water that I can't get rid of in just little certain areas. We also have a pond. Obviously, I'm not putting them in the pond, but I will update you on these later. But they do work in your water for the fungus gnats, to keep the fungus gnat population down in your seed starting station. I am definitely having better germination with my zinnias doing this plug tray, leaving the plug tray on the heat mat and putting it under lights. Definitely having better germination than I did in my soil blocks. I still, as you can tell, I have a lot of ones that haven't popped up, and they keep popping up, so I'm still leaving it on the heat mat, and I still have it under lights. And luckily, with having it under lights, they haven't gotten super leggy. The ones that have already popped, I mean, you know, that one right there is growing taller, but I mean, it hasn't gotten super leggy like the other ones did over there, as you can tell. And yet I'm still, again, seeing ones, where is it? Like right there, that are still coming up. So I'm going to still leave it on the heat mat, leave it under lights, and see if we can get more to germinate. This is April 2nd, and I started these on March 29th. One thing I want to also note is I have been taking these off the heat mat outside and gently top watering them. And another thing that I've noticed is that the seed coats are coming off a lot easier than when I just kind of side water these, where sometimes I get a lot of seed coats stuck on these. And I haven't had any problems top watering them. So that's another little side note. We're having lots of success with these zinnias. So I actually started another plug tray with the zinnias and put those on the heat mat, and then those have already sprouted. So I had to move those under lights, but I still have my first plug tray with the zinnias under lights. So I had to rearrange some stuff in here. So I think I'm going to continue to do the zinnias in the plug trays and then keep them on the plug tray under lights while things are germinating. We are having a frost tonight, so I was just out covering stuff. So luckily, they're still in here in the propagation room over here. There they are down there. So I'm getting ready to turn you around and show you all of that. This is the plug tray of zinnias that was started on March 29th. And as you can tell, look at this. I still have some zinnias coming up. And that is only because, and over here too, see those? And these are my expensive ones, the floret zinnias. And then if you see that one, see how they're growing? All of these are growing, but yet they're not long and leggy. Let's see. See that? Versus all of that over here that was started in my soil blocks, where we have some super short ones and then some super tall ones that are kind of shading out the super short ones. So I think this is the way to go. Again, I still have these on the heat mat under the lights, and I'm keeping this corner over here somewhere between 70 and 80. I really want it 75 and 80, but sometimes it does dip down into 70. So, you know, again, I think that's where the heat mat is really helping out. These were started on April the 3rd. Today is April the 6th. And look at everything that has germinated. Pretty crazy. So I had to rearrange things, and then I had to put the sunflowers over here back on a heat mat, which I figured was not going to be a problem. So they're under lights on a heat mat, and then all of these, which I'm getting really nice germination on all of these, and hopefully they won't get too leggy under here as well. So I have some pinks and the uproar rose over here, which last year I did not get good germination on my uproar rose, and I'm getting much better germination this year, and it's the same seed packet, but a year older. So that tells you this is working better. And then over here is Precious Metals and Victorian Wedding, which again is the floret seed. And then we've got, I can't read this one. Oh, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Anyway, I forgot what I planted there. It's a zinnia, probably, I don't know. It's probably more salmon. I'm not really sure. And then the pink and then the upper rose. So lots of germination there. These, again, we're at the beginning of April. These will probably be planted out the end of April. Definitely need warm soil for the zinnias to take off. But, I mean, they'll be moved out and hardened off and all the things. So, I'm super excited that I think I have kind of figured out how to get better zinnia babies. I know, it's easy for everybody, but apparently not for me. So, I'm glad I figured this out. This is my 5th succession of sunflowers. These are the peach, and these would be outside hardening off, except for we're getting a couple nights of frost. Yeah, so after probably tomorrow I'll be able to put those outside, so that's awesome. And all of these have been outside hardening off, but again, the weather. So you have that. And then, as I said, I needed to do some more celosia. So that's what we have going on here. And I've got some germination and some germination here, but not 50% yet. So I'm still leaving these on the heat mat, hoping to get more. These I'm super excited about. This is a new type. This is, well, no, it's not. This is the Sunday mix, which I've done before. But this is Gardener's Workshop. They had, oh, yeah, the Jura Salmon. So I'm really hoping for some good germination here on the salmon celosia. But so far we've got some good germination on the Sunday mix. I can't remember if I've said this before, but these are all going to go in the hoop house. The reason for that is I need a crop in between some sunflowers to go in the ground there. And celosia loves the heat, so it'll be a great crop in the hoop house. And this is, see how I didn't have any there. I just had this little group germinate. Again, I had to take that off the heat. But this, I got a good stand of this. So, and this one is the coral. Yeah, so that'll be really pretty. And this one is the fruit punch mix. So I think I'll have a really good selection of celosia going on. Thus ends the Zinnia'a trials. Just in case anybody's interested.